And here you'll notice how the Warriors nicely push the ball and the pace sets this up. Curry gets it up the floor, gets rid of it, and then Iguodala will immediately screen for Curry coming toward the top. Now what you'll notice is two defenders go to Curry, so Iguodala will slip the screen, which means he's not setting the screen, he'll be rolling right to the basket, and here he's wide open after a nice pass from Draymond. Beautiful basketball. And the slips are a big part of their offense as they use it to counter switching. So here, for instance, to start their game, they'll run a set play which uses the slip. It looks like a flare screen for Curry, but what they're really looking for on this play is Draymond slipping to the basket. That's because when the Blazers switch the screen, for a moment Lillard will be on the high side of Draymond. This allows Draymond to slip to the basket and get the backdoor dunk. And as we watch this play again, you'll see that it was a well-designed set play not just because of the slip, but because of the off-ball action with Iggy screening for Klay. This decoy action occupies those two help defenders for the Blazers, and that's why Draymond was so open once he got the pass. But of course, what makes the Warriors special is that they can get into an action like that even without a set play. Here, for instance, they simply bring it up and they get into a very similar flare slip type of action here with McKinney slipping to the basket. And here, while they don't score, it's a kick ball. Just the fact that they got into that was impressive. Now let's talk about how the Warriors counter top lock, and this is what I mean. So Klay here wants to run off a screen from Jerebko, but we see Rodney Hood is performing top lock. And what top lock is Hood will prevent Klay from using that screen by getting on the high side of Klay and getting in between Klay and Jerebko. But the Warriors quickly go to a counter. Klay will run to the other side now along the baseline to get a screen, and we see what this does. Now Hood is trailing Klay as you can't top lock on both sides, so Klay is taking advantage of the fact that Hood was being aggressive. Livingston sets up his screen, and it's an open three. On this play, we see something very similar. So Lillard isn't in top lock position against Curry, but we see that he's getting very aggressive against the screen. All his momentum is going toward the screen, so Curry makes the decision to run along the baseline like we saw Klay do. And like the last play, the Warriors are all on the same page. The ball is reversed, and Curry gets a screen from Looney on the opposite side. This is tough to defend, and here Looney gets it on the roll for a layup. Now let's talk about how they'll reverse the ball to get it to a shooter. And when they do this, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So Iguodala here will reverse it to Draymond, and then immediately Curry will fly off a screen from Looney on the opposite side, and here it gets Curry an okay look at three. With the ball moving side to side, a pin down can be very tough to defend, and again, I just love how it looks aesthetically with the ball zipping across the court, and here Klay gets an open three. Now what's interesting about this is the process side of it, and we see that the moment Draymond catches it, he looks to the weak side and he sees that Klay is in position to run off a screen from Livingston. So it only makes logical sense for him to reverse the ball to get it to Bogut, as Bogut would have the better passing angle. And everyone is on the same page. Before Bogut even catches the pass, Klay is popping out, and he was able to get so wide open because McCollum, who gets screened well by Livingston, is not expecting this pin down to happen. And that's how you get a shooter like Klay that wide open. You always have to be active in the Warriors offense, and again we see an example of the reversal and the pin down. So the reversal goes to Green, and immediately once Looney sees that, he sets a screen for Klay, and here Klay gets an open three. And what this play also showed is how they can counter defenders sagging off of non-shooters. So on this play, as we watch it again, notice how Myers Leonard was sagging off of Looney, not giving him any respect, which is fine because Looney isn't a good shooter. But the Warriors have seen this before and they know exactly how to counter it. By using Looney as a screener, now Klay can get an open shot because Leonard was sagged so far back and he wouldn't be able to help at the level of the screen. Just to make sure this point is crystal clear, let's look at this play. Jordan Bell has the ball and Leonard really isn't even guarding him at all, but the Warriors know how to counter. Bell will quickly flow into a pick and roll with Curry, and Leonard is not able to recover in time and get up to the level of the screen, which he has to do against a shooter like Curry. The result is Curry ends up getting the 4-point play, all because Leonard was disrespecting Bell on the perimeter. Thus far, we've seen a lot of great examples of how the Warriors are on the same page and how they use screening to counter what the defense is trying to do. But there may be no better example of this than their post splits, which has been a deadly weapon for them throughout the playoffs. So here's what the post split is. The ball goes into the post, and then what you'll see is Looney will screen for Curry, looking to get him an open 3-point shot, and that's exactly what happens here. Also, on this play, notice how Kanter, who was guarding Looney, was sagged very far into the paint. This explains why Looney decided to set a real screen instead of slipping it toward the basket, because if he slipped the screen, he wouldn't be open as Kanter would be waiting for him. But by setting a real screen, that's how he frees up Curry with Kanter sagging back. The same option is open on this play. Livingston gets it into the post, and when he sets the split screen, he'll set a real screen because his defender is sagged into the paint. Rodney Hood now is in no position to help or switch on to Clay, so if Livingston sets a decent screen, it's an open 3. Now obviously the last two plays were not well defended by the Blazers, but on this play with the slowed pace, we see what they're trying to do. So when the ball goes into the post, McCollum will top lock Clay by getting in between him and Looney, preventing him from using the screen. Kanter is still sagged back, but now it makes sense for him to be sagged back as he can take away the backdoor cut by Clay. So far so good. Then we see Lillard get in position to top lock Curry on the next split screen, and when Curry catches it on the cut, Kanter is waiting there to defend him. So this is quite good defense, and they eventually force a low percentage shot. But unfortunately for the Blazers, their execution of the top lock and drop has not been up to par against the split action. Here, for example, the Warriors go to the split and Seth Curry is getting in position to top lock, but here Kanter is the problem as he's up against Looney, which is not where he's supposed to be, and this allows Steph Curry to backdoor cut for a layup.